All right, what is up? RuneScape.com is your boy, Ojama Garrett's back with yet again another tier list. I'm just really cranking them out. So this one's going to be a little bit more straightforward, I believe. Mithril items. This is where we're crossing over into like playability. Like these are going to be a lot more common items. Myth Pures, I think, are common for PKing, or not common, but are played free to play. Melee training. You got stuff like Mithril seeds here, Mithril nails, Mithril ore. The elk market here is a little bit more lucrative. Mithril darts, arrows, all this stuff is just like we're just like ascending the better ladder in terms of like less junk jank collecty market side of things to more like actual use case. So there's like a real supply demand for these items. With that being said, hope you guys enjoy all of the tier list content. I'm going to try to crank out 100 of them. Really, really appreciate all the support I got from everybody so far. If you could find it in your heart to subscribe, like check out the links down below, etc. Like, comment, you want the tier list, hit me up, make your own, whatever. I'm saving all these in my computer so that people can, if they really want to, hop into content creation, and then I'll have an entire pack of whatever, what I'm saying? Like, but, whatever. Zip it up, get it done, blah, 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 blah. So intro. Imagine I said some really cool stuff, really captivating, really dramatic, really funny, really whatever you need to like me, all right? Please, because I need it. Please. Anyway. So, first item up, we have the Mythil two-handed sword. And for the other ones, actually, Mythil two-handed sword is going to be kind of our mid-line, like our, it's not a bad item. Like, I'll be commenting about everything totally in general too, my experience with it and stuff. I did a little commentary about like what we have going on here, but in my experience, there's a lot going on here, from normal takes to whatever. But Mythil is where like it really starts to open up for a flipper because there's so many different use cases going on, so many different markets operating, and it's kind of like a good, just solid set of items just to get into because you're going to start to price out other people who really can't afford this type of stuff. So like, especially in the scale of what I'm talking about, like from the free-to-play angle where you can make 100 accounts and flip on all of them, like being able to facilitate enough accounts to be able to like really tap into these markets, these item pools, you're going to be in another league above most of the people getting into it. Like this is where you really start to pull away, where your bank will really start to really flex on the poorer players and stuff. You'll have a lot less competition. So that's it. But we still also have newbie friendly items in this item pool too. So it's just a super interesting pool of items just to talk about, in my opinion. So Mythil two-handed swords, it's not a very useful item in terms of like combat effectiveness or anything like that. It's really slow, blah, blah, blah. So it's not really going to be used for anything in particular, but it does now start to approach the elk niche pick. You know what I'm saying? So it is like a one that I've been able to, I have a 20 set of accounts, or an account set of 20 where I'm experimenting with like steel items, iron items, bronze items. What can I buy? What can I sell? What's close cycle? Because I really want to, that's the type of thing I like to do. I don't really like to interact because it creates more labor. But Mythil two-handed swords I've been able to buy and get a really decent margin on. So this is like this is going to be like the line of good and bad. Okay, like there's items that are a lot better, there's items that are a lot worse than this, but this is just a solid item for anybody just to flip. You know what I mean? The margins are decent. So now we have Mythil arrows, and in terms of, it's sort of a scary item to flip, but just in sheer volume, this is like close to the highest traded item in the game. The margins most of the time are super solid, but like for the past, let's say 6 months, I haven't been really touching it. I used to use this as this used to be my one of my bread and butter picks for a lot of new free-to-play alts that would come into the game, because it used to be like 3-4 or something like that, or 4-5 or something super cheap. This was like your go-to arrow to like train on free-to-play and even members, but like as in like terms of cheapness and stuff like that. But the price has really been swinging around, but it's still just such a high volume. It's so consistent. It's so scalable. It's so good that I'm just still going to put it up there in the S tier because it is really good. So now, talking about this, I talk about this in every video. Poison items suck. Okay, poison items suck. It's not worth your time. That's the short answer. I was doing a lot of explanations in the other videos, but they just suck. You should be able to figure out pretty quickly why, I guess. Maybe I get a little impatient, but I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more of these. So yeah, Mythil arrow tips. Now I am starting to say that this is like more worth your time as a members player, because they are in that area where there is a lot more volume of them. Plus the margin does exist, like it does spread away from like 1 or 2 GP. You can get this at the right time and make a pretty penny on it. So yeah, it's a pretty good item. So the Myithil Axe is going to be a solid A tier, maybe even S tier. Nah, not really, but like this is going to commonly be bought. A lot of new accounts coming to the game on the reg, so people are usually buying this axe. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know. But yeah, like people, they, you know, I'm gonna trade woodcutting. They don't just get iron axe and then wait till rune. They get all of the items in progression. So it is just an item that, you know, that constant trickle of demand, but not a lot of supply. I'm imagining does allow you to just scoop some up and then slowly sell it back. And collectors, I feel like are really going to be going for this. And I wish I had said this earlier in the other one, in my last video on black items, but like collectors go in for black pickaxes, and I'm not 100% sure on the hatchet, but the buy limit's like 4, so it's like really fucking good, I feel, anyway, because it's so hard to get, so that makes it a lot better for a collector item. Mythil Bars, again, top of the S tier. I've made this speech so many times, but just in case you're new here, this is going to directly correlate with the out price of Mythro plate bodies, because Mythro plate bodies are going to be the bread and butter of this item, because it's going to drive the broader elk market. So whatever, I don't remember the price off the top of my head like I do steel plate bodies, but there's an elk price for the steel plate bodies, and if you divide that by 5 ish, a little bit less than divided by 5 for that elk price that most people are buying or selling for, whatever your price point is, it will dip below that eventually at some point, and then you just start nabbing them up, because you can like get a lot of money doing it that way. So like for instance, if you're going to buy Mythro plate bodies, you can only get a maximum of 750 a day, but if you get I believe it's 13,000 per 2 hours or 4 hours, sorry, I'm not 100% sure, that is effectively buying 2,600 plate bodies an hour. Now, you may not get the same prices, but effectively, just because in sheer volumes divided by 125, that's like 20 times the buy rate per 4 hours. So this like turns into a very lucrative way to get your hands on Mythro plate bodies, and that's where the power of it will come from. Like you know, you could sell to somebody who's like maybe potentially trying to go for 99 smithing. You know what I mean? Like in the secondary market, the Mythil Bars may even go that quickly, whatever. But it's just, you could either do that in the secondary market to sell just for that flat rate profit, and just be able to like get so much volume. You can make a lot of money that way, or you can just wait for it to eventually swing back over elk prices, where it becomes a great time for you to dump your stock, and it eventually, you know, it causes swings and over the elk price, under the elk price, etc. But still, it's just a good item to swing trade, buy and hold, etc. Just really good item. Super high volume, scalable. You know what I'm saying? Like more free-to-play accounts, you know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just really good. So Mythro Battle Axe, I think this sold pretty decently, but I'm not 100% sure. So just because I'm not 100% sure, I'm going to err on the side of caution. This is a running theme for all of the metals. Battle Axes are not going to be really bought. They're going to go up a tier once we start hitting rune, but in this market, it's not going to be very good. So poison bolts suck. Unfinished bolts, I'm going to put them in A tier instead of B tier, like in that one video for this. Brutal arrow sucks, sorry. Anyway, so bolts and stuff, these are going to be a lot more bought and sold, and Mythro bolts are like kind of a go-to for like a cheap bolts to like rag train, like rag range train, or like to use in the wild. I know broad bolts, there's broad bolts, and then there's Mythro bolts for people who have the Slayer level. These are picked up a lot, so they're high in demand and they have decent margins, so I just know that for sure. So then Mythro boots, based on what I looked at for black boots, these start to become a little bit more common now, because they do come with that strength bonus for people who are trying to get that little bit extra for their account training, to get that little bit extra DPS. They do buy this, and there is like a few thousand margin there, but it's not very crazy good. I'm pretty sure the buy limit on boots are lower than most as well. I could be wrong. So Mythro chain body is going to be top A. This is another one. Steel chain bodies, Mythro chain body, doing pretty good. Yeah, it's good. It's got a good margin. There's the elk. Some people buy it for elks. You know, the elk calculator will hit it, whatever, but you can buy and sell it. Crush defense versus crabs and stuff like that too. so it's pretty good. Mithril Claw is not that good. Mithril Crossbow, I think PKers use it. I think it do. So it's not D booty yet, but it isn't completely worthless. Poison Mithril or Poison Daggers is going to be bad. I want to say this does not buy and sell very good, but there is that always potential for a collector's market just because of that. It's not going to go down into D tier. Hostas are kind of bad. Mythil Darts are going to be bad. Like, this is going to be my exception for like members items that are kind of shitty, like down here. Like, not shitty, but shittier than other ones. Because even on a main, Mythil Darts are kind of like your, in my opinion, one of the best entry items into flipping in general. To like, if you've never flipped before and you just need a slot to make you money, Mythil Darts are going to do that for you. I'm not 100% sure what the price is right now off the top of my head, but I always buy them for 4, sell for 5, or you can buy for 4, sell for 6, or you can buy for 5 and sell for 6. If you buy for 5, sell for 6, whatever, I think that's what the window is at right now. At least that it was when I was more actively flipping. Buying for 5, you hit every buy limit. So it is like 42K a day, like on the money. But if you buy 4, sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. And you get that 2 cheapy spread. So it can turn into more money just for being a little bit more patient. So Mythil Dart tips, not quite as free, but it is really high in demand. A lot of people are buying and selling this. So it is a good item to flip. But the poison ones still suck. The black dragon mask, or not black, sorry, Mythril dragon mask sucks, I believe. I think these are cosmetic. Okay. I've said this a million times, and I know I'm doing all these back to back, but let me know if these have a use. The Mythril two-handed axe, forestry axe, I think all of these suck, so I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure they all suck. So now we get to the trim stuff. Trim is probably not good for Mythril stuff. Like, I don't see a lot of people in it. I know there's going to be a margin there, and this is scalable. So you can, you know what I mean? Like, potentially, this might be the biggest thing I'm wrong about, like, when it comes down to these trim items. They could be really good. I know that, like, there's a margin that exists for them, and these I'm pretty sure are all free to play. And if they are all free to play, they're probably not as bad as what I'm making them out to be. But, like, I'm just not a fan of cosmetic items whatsoever. So there's just that. So the Mythril Halberd is going to have really no use case, so there's not a lot of demand for it. The Mythril Full Helm is right up there with the chain body. I think it's worse than the chain body, but it's still right up there for the chain body, just for the margins to be able to flip. The Hosta is going to be kind of garbage. The Poisoned Javelins are kind of butt. I'm going to put I've been kind of all over the place with this because I'm kind of going off instinct, but I know that there's some sort of like arbitrage between swords to GE on some of these. Like, it existed for the iron javelin, so I just want to believe that it exists for the other javelins. So just because of that, I'll just take a risk and put it in the B tier, though I'm not 100% sure. I just want to give a disclaimer there. Mythril Kite Shield is a pretty decent one to buy and sell. Like, you can get them dirt cheap. People are buying them and selling them for training their little melee accounts, their little free-to-play accounts, you know. Free-to-play accounts that are free-to-play mains, whatever. There's plenty of these accounts being made. Botters are constantly buying these to train their melee up and stuff. You know, shit like that. It's going to buy and it's going to sell. A lot of these Mythril items are going to, because now we're getting into that armors that don't suck, or they have like a real use, and they're used for a while. And people will buy and sell them because they feel like it's worth enough money now that it's at least worth taking the time, which mostly it's not for most people in terms of like raw, like GP per action, GP per click, etc. But like, people feel like it is expensive enough that they will sell it back to the GE. So there's a nice, and they'll pick it up as Slayer drops. They'll pick it up from the Moss Giants. They'll pick it up from all that other stuff, because there's a lot of players out there that, you know, it's valued enough that they'll start to see it as valuable. Javelin Head's not that great. Mythril Longswords, I know they don't really buy sell that good, but they do, so it is an item. Mythril Knives are going to be pretty decent, just because they are going to be used for range training for like peers and stuff on crabs and stuff like that. People are just going to use that, even if it's not the best. Who cares? Mythril Mace is pretty. Like, again, all the maces are easy to get, but there's never they don't sell that well. Same with the medium helm. Let me slow down a minute, and then I'll slide this up here again. You're going to see this theme a lot for a lot of these metal tier lists, but the Mythril plate body is the best item because elks and bulking. So, elks and bulking, bro. Like, you can get 750 of these a day. A lot of people are willing to let go of them for pretty cheap. And you can scale this infinitely across so many free-to-play accounts. This is just me repeating that over and over again. And it feels stupid to me right now because I'm saying it back to back to back to back. This is my 4th time saying it in a row. But Mythril plate bodies is where it's really starting to get lucrative. This is like where there's a lot of potential money to be made. And we're starting, you know, as you raise your as an item per unit or price per unit increases, your competition decreases, because, like, you know, based on how much money you got, you want to maximize the amount of units as possible to increase the amount of you want as high volume as possible. And if you can't afford a lot of units, because the margin is relatively, it's kind of diminished when it comes to like each climb up. So like steel to mithril, like it's like kind of a diminished ROI increase. But as you get more bank and you need to do something with it, economy of scale will kick in a lot really well. You know, as you're capturing the steel market, now you're capturing the mithril, now you're capturing this and that. You'll really just start to blow up. And mithril plate bodies they bought and sold like crazy in the elk market, man. They're really hot commodity. Mithril pickaxe, same argument as the hatchet. People are buying it. You're not skipping this in mining, because mining especially is a longer and tedious grind. I'm not 100% sure if you can skip 20 to 30 with mining. You might have to grind it out, but a lot of people will probably just opt to go down to Motherlode and just get it, or just get mining or power mining, iron, etc. You know what I'm saying? So they're buying it. They don't want to skip over that, like, because mining is a really long grind, so that's not something you can just really skip over. Mithril nails, I will put, they're not that high. They're maybe that high. They're not as good as steel nails, bro. Steel nails are just so strong, but these are still really, the steel nails are free to play, so you can scale it. I don't think that nails are free to play except for steel, because of the Dragon Slayer, I believe. But high volume, people are buying it, construction trading, etc. Decent margin. It's a good item to flip. High volume, I want to say 4 to 10 GP spread. Pretty good. Mythro plate legs, yeah. Actually, yeah. I remember now, because I did this for my series, Road to Max Plat, when I was spamming episodes of those, and it didn't really, you know, it was a mistake, what I did before, but that's neither here nor there. I remember bringing this up a lot where we were finding mithril plate legs were performing very well. I think I was getting, like, I want to say at least 100 all the way up to 300 per unit, and it was coming in okay, at an okay rate. I think it was like taking me 2 days to complete orders or something like that. But yeah, that's a trim item. Mithril ore is going to be another way for you to get, these are all roads to the same thing. So mithril ore, mithril bars, mithril plate bodies. Mithril plate bodies, you know, is the simplest one to jump into and the simplest way to make margin. But if you're watching mithril ores and you're watching mithril bars, scoop a shit ton up when they drop below the out price here, and then dump them back in or find a buyer, etc. This is just another way for you to get plate bodies. So, like, you know, 13,000 bars per hour. I think that's what it is, divided by 5. It's like 2,600. And then having that, having that would be ores. No, it would be 30, because you need a mithril ore and then 2 coals. Yeah, so it's like effectively, if you do all of this, if you're going for all 3 of these, try to like capture this entire market, which is infinitely scalable across free-to-play accounts. Okay, remember that. It's just really expensive as well, but you can capture more of the market if you spread it across more slots. Anyway, you could potentially get this many plate bodies. We'll just say 3591 round down. Who cares about the decimal? Per 4 hours. So then per day. Okay, we'll just leave it in because it did come out of a flat number. So you could get roughly, if you were like smart and you had the capital to get these type of numbers, you can get this per day. And it's like 100 to, don't quote me, but I feel like it's 100 to 250 profit if you're able to capture this, or even if it's less than that, it's still damn good. So like for a free-to-play too, getting this many units like at 100 is still like 2 mil per day. You know what I mean? That's pretty big. That's potentially not bad, and that's per 4 hours on one account. You know what I mean? But like now you have like 10 accounts, right? So like, I mean, that's going to be extremely expensive, but still, it's like the money's there. I don't exactly know how the math works off the top of my head, but it's the money's there. Mythil skirt isn't as popular as the plate leg, but it is still pretty decent. Does buy and sell. Mythil scimitar will go up here in the S tier as well. This is a melee trained weapon. It's not that S tier. It's probably more S tier, just because free to play scalability. So it is kind of a toss-up between darts and scimitars, though I will put darts here just for a winner, and I feel like this is a little bit better. I don't know if those are S tier. I'll put them top at A. Mythril seeds are very highly PK'd. PKers use this all the time, and they usually buy huge stacks of it at a time, so it's probably pretty good. The plate body set is going to be probably a lot better than most of them because this is a set that you're not going to want to skip while you're training your account. Spears, still probably pretty bad. I will slide a normal spear up to the C tier just because it's probably a little bit better than most, and, you know, whatever. I don't know. People collect things. And, you know, for me, because I'm kind of speaking from my own bias here, I would collect Mythril items too. So Mythril sword, I don't know. Mythril sword doesn't resale very good, actually, so I won't put it up there, but throwing axes are going to be butt, and warhammers, I'm pretty sure, are C tier. So there's not a lot of B tier here. So there is kind of a divide, a clear line divide here, and I'm not sure if these two even exist, but our line is clearly defined here with the two-handed, and they're either like not as good or a lot better. But the Mythril item set now has a lot better of a I don't know, this is where flipping starts to get exciting. Once you get the money to be able to really jump into items like this, it's really freaking good, man. And if you want to really get some motherfucking money, I'm gonna plug my course. You know, $99 to save you 10 to 20 hours of hiccups and research and all that other crap. 10 to 20 hours faster than if you were to do it on your own. If you really just want to jump into making money as fast as you can, you really love RuneScape, check out my link down below for my course. Teach you how to build 1,000 plus account, infinite scalable, free, like manually played rules of RuneScape. It follows the rules, but you know, dealing with fake bans, all that other stuff, plus infinite support for me. You join a Discord where you can ask me any question. I can make you any module, any private tailored coaching, whatever. My DMs are open for that too, and high priority to customers. So check out my sponsor as well. Flipping tools are really good. Dump alerts are coming soon. I believe he's actively developing. He's really kicking ass to make this the best product he's ever made. Subscribe. You know, all the good stuff. Like, comment. You know, if you want this zipped up so you can make your own tier list of this type of stuff or the different tier lists I'm making, you know, hit me up. I'll zip it up and send it over to you. Yeah. Catch you later. Thank you very much.